I'm going to be installing the Thermalright axp90 53 full copper edition. Now this thing, if you saw my last video, is a heavy beast, and I really hope it's going to cool down this i5 13500 chip. If you saw my last video, I had the x56 edition non-copper, and my CPU was overheating and it hit 100 degrees Celsius and kept crashing. Now I did play around with the BIOS, and unfortunately that did not help either. So I'm rolling the dice here. This cooler is an expensive one. It cost me 95 Australian dollars, which is pretty much the same price as a 240mm AIO. So I'm hoping this bad boy will do the job. So anyway, I'm adding the thermal paste. I got a little bit excited here and decided to just go all out. No judgment here, guys. I just wanted to get the stuff out of the tube, and I wanted to put that copper cooler on, hoping that once I squish that cooler on tight, it will spread that paste out. I do normally spread it out with a little pasty spadey thing, but honestly I just wanted to put it on there and just check it out, lol. So anyway, I managed to squeeze that bad boy on there, and it was up to the flipping and the mounting. So I used the infamous Thermalright mounting bracket for the axp90. I actually reversed it and used the AM4 side and used the longer screws so I could clear some of that PCB goodness on this B660i ROG Strix motherboard. If you've seen on Reddit, it is known to actually not work with the bracket, but if you flip it over, then it does work with the bracket and you use the longer screws, FYI. So here goes the cooler on the motherboard. I'm happy to say that it does fit straight and it is on very tightly. I hope there's not actually too much tension on there, but I did end up loosening the screws a little bit just because I was worried about over tightening the CPU cooler on there. Next up was to cable tie the CPU cable down. Now the cable is of great high quality. I really like how they've braided it, but unfortunately the cable is just too long, and with a mini ITX build you have to work with tight spaces. So in this case I am going to be cable tying that down nice and cleanly with a smaller size cable tie. I don't want a big industrial looking cable tie. When it's on smaller cables, I use the bigger cables when you're doing like case management for like a larger size case, but in the mini ITX world these little cable ties are fantastic. They don't actually take up too much room and they work really well in the smaller size of cases. This is something that I've only recently discovered, but in advanced mode there is a setting here that comes with the Asus motherboards. Now I've got the ROG Strix B660i edition, but the Asus Performance Enhancement 3.0 needs to be disabled because it will use the default Intel stock settings, the settings that actually come out of the box and works with the core frequencies and the power limits. Now the motherboard has that enabled by default, and what that means is it optimizes the computer to push its limits. Now in this mini ITX build I don't want to be pushing the limits, especially in this small form factor. So I ran Cinebench and I was utterly surprised at this copper cooler hitting 84 degrees Celsius max temperature, running at 131 watt. I'm absolutely stoked and relieved with these temps.